Christopher Columbus was one of the most influential and controversial figures of the age of exploration. His voyages across the Atlantic Ocean reshaped the world, permanently connecting Europe and the Americas, and triggering what later became known as the Columbian Exchange. Although he never reached Asia as intended, his journeys changed global history forever. Christopher Columbus was born between August 25th and October 31st, 1451, in the Republic of Genoa in present-day Italy. He came from a modest family. His father, Domenico Colombo, was a wool weaver and small merchant, while his mother, Susanna Fontanarossa, shared a similar background. Columbus received little formal education, but developed a strong interest in geography, navigation, astronomy, and the sea. As a young man, Columbus sailed on merchant ships throughout the Mediterranean and later along the Atlantic coasts of Europe and Africa. These voyages exposed him to navigation techniques, trade routes, and the belief that long-distance ocean travel was possible. He studied ancient and medieval texts, including Ptolemy and Marco Polo, and became convinced that Asia could be reached by sailing west. Columbus believed the Earth was smaller than it actually is. This miscalculation led him to think Japan and China were much closer to Europe than they truly were. While many scholars already accepted a round Earth, they knew the westward distance to Asia was far greater than Columbus believed. For years, Columbus sought financial support for his plan. He was rejected by Portugal, England, and France. Finally, Spain's Catholic monarchs, King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella I, agreed to sponsor him. In 1492, Spain had just completed the Reconquista and was eager to expand its influence. Columbus was granted noble titles, the rank of Admiral of the Ocean Sea, and authority over newly discovered lands. On August 3, 1492, Columbus departed from Palos de la Frontera with 3 ships, the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Weeks at sea caused fear and unrest among the crew. Through determination and leadership, Columbus kept the expedition together. On October 12, 1492, land was sighted. Columbus reached an island in the Bahamas, naming it San Salvador. Believing he had arrived in Asia, he called the native inhabitants Indians, a term that endured for centuries. He explored several Caribbean islands, including Cuba and Hispaniola. Though impressed by the land's beauty and resources, he found no great cities or Asian spices. Still, he remained convinced he was near Asia. The Santa Maria ran aground on Hispaniola, forcing Columbus to leave behind a small settlement known as La Navidad. This marked the beginning of European colonization in the Americas. Columbus returned to Spain in 1493 with news of his discoveries. Between 1492 and 1504, Columbus completed 4 Atlantic voyages. On his second journey, he returned with a large fleet and established the first permanent Spanish settlement in the New World. However, his rule as governor proved deeply flawed. Columbus imposed harsh authority over settlers and indigenous peoples. Forced labor, violence, and severe punishment became widespread. Indigenous populations suffered greatly from exploitation, conflict, and European diseases such as smallpox. Complaints of cruelty and mismanagement reached Spain. In 1500, Columbus was arrested and sent back in chains. Though later released, he lost much of his power and influence. Despite mounting evidence, Columbus never accepted that he had discovered a new continent. Until his death, he believed the lands he reached were part of Asia. Later, Amerigo Vespucci recognized the Americas as a new world, leading to their name. Columbus made his final voyage from 1502 to 1504, exploring parts of Central America while searching for a passage to the Indian Ocean. He failed to find it and returned to Spain ill and impoverished. Christopher Columbus died on May 20, 1506, in Valladolid, Spain. At his death, he believed he had failed. Within decades, however, his voyages were recognized as a turning point in world history. Columbus's legacy remains complex and controversial. He is remembered as a daring navigator who connected distant worlds, but also as a figure whose actions led to centuries of colonization and suffering. Understanding Columbus requires acknowledging both his achievements and the devastating consequences of his journeys.